We're going to move on to Facts or Facts now. We're talking food again. Leftovers, let's say food that's spoiled before you ate it, even, that last bite.
No, that never happens in our house.
Right? It all winds up in the trash, literally tons of it. The USDA estimates that between 30 and 40% of all the food in the U.S. winds up in landfills, and each of us throws away about 218 pounds of food every year. So if we do the math, that adds up to about 133 billion pounds of food in these landfills.
Now, here's the good news. This is a problem you actually can fix. Cutting back on grocery shopping and cooking what you already have are two really good, easy places to start.
Eat more.
Or you can eat more, right? You want to be in the clean plate club.
Yep.
Now, here's another one. How about home composting? Matt Rogers is the CEO of Mill, which he has created a really cool at-home composting system. We are so excited to have you on the show today to talk more about this, Matt. So we want to get into this machine in a moment, but you actually have a really interesting backstory. Before this venture, you were co-founder of Nest, which is a line of smart home products. So what inspired you to make the jump from Nest into composting?
I've been dedicating my life to working on areas of climate change that frankly need the innovation. So with Nest, we saw the thermostat on the wall as something that could do a lot more work for us and help us save money and energy at home. With Mill, we see the same opportunity. Waste is not inevitable. All that, banana peels and scraps that we have actually could go to really good use. So we're building a new company to get food back to farms instead of landfills.
Well, obviously simplicity is going to be the key here, right? Mm-hmm. So my question to you is, this isn't the first at-home composting kit that someone can buy. What makes yours so different?
It is really easy to use. So you join the Mill membership and you get a Mill bin at home for free. And the bin is beautiful and easy to use and doesn't smell. So that's the coolest part. Is imagine a kitchen experience that doesn't stink. Like no icky drippy bags, no fruit flies, no rats, and you don't have to take out the trash every day. It's fantastic.
So how exactly does this work? We saw all the scraps.
Where do you put it after?
Right. So what happens now? You put all the scraps, and just maybe a quick rundown also about composting. People might not know. Well, what happens to this food when you put it in that bin?
Yes. So you put all the food that you can or don't eat into the bin, meat and dairy included, banana peels, avocado pits, and overnight it automatically dries it up and grinds it into what looks like coffee grounds, but actually is still just dried food. It takes weeks to fill up. So after 3 or 4 weeks, Mill sends you a box. You pour it into the box and put it on your front door, and the U.S. Postal Service will come pick it up and send it back to us so we can feed it to chickens.
That is phenomenal.
Instead of sending it to landfills. It's really cool.
So I was wondering if you had a big pile back at home base that you just throw it into, but you say you feed it to chickens?
That's right. So we get the material back to us. We filter and sort it to take out any contaminants, and we make sure it's safe. And then we package it up and we send it to farms to feed chickens.
All right. So how does it not smell? Because does it instantly dehydrate it, you're saying? So that takes the smell away? That's my biggest concern, is that it would be super stinky.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing we had to solve is, can we make food waste not stinky? So one, by drying it out, it doesn't smell. If you think about like a dried spice rack, there's some aroma of the spices, but the spices don't go bad on the shelf. But also we have a really advanced charcoal filter in the machine so that as it's processing, you still don't smell anything. The activated charcoal takes any VOCs out of the air.
So I'm just looking at some of the video that you guys provided. It seems very easygoing for their average consumer. I myself am always like, I've got this bad orange, or I've got these eggshells. Once you go through the process of delivering the bin, going through the cleanup process, is there any you say there's a grinder in there, right? So what happens if there's like some kind of malfunction with that?
The bin is pretty smart. Coming from Nest, we built the smart home. So a lot of the technology and innovation we applied to build Nest products, we've taken bit with us at Mill. So almost nothing will break the machine. And it automatically works behind the scenes. So you don't actually need to think about starting it, or it's not like a dishwasher where you got to run the cycle and remember it. And it just does it all automatically.
Cool.
That is really, really cool. So is this available now? I mean, I'm ready, Matt. I'm ready for my bin.
That's right. So we launched about 4 weeks ago at mill.com, and we've already sold out our first few months of production already. So we're really off to a really good start.
All right, so you go from thermostats, now you're working on food waste. What's your next adventure, if you could even think out ahead?
Imagine a world without waste.
Right.
Like, waste is not inevitable. Like, we've kind of come to accept
What's your
it
idea?
as a
What do we do with all
society.
this plastic?
Oh my gosh, we just shouldn't have it. Like, plastic bottles, like, we could use glass cups. Like, we don't need to have as much single-use stuff out there. And if you imagine a world without waste, it actually is not just a greener world, but like a more efficient world. And we're going to save a lot of money as a society.
Matt, if people want to learn more about this, where should they go?
Go to mill.com and you could read about the product, the experience. You could check out our LCA and see our environmental impact. What's cool is the mill experience saves a house about 0.5 ton of emissions per year, which is actually a super practical and material number. Yeah, go to mill.com, check it out.
Dude, so cool. Thank you. Love your brain.
Yeah, I know.
So grateful for it.
If we could have like 1/1000th of your brain,
yeah.
I would take it. So
entrepreneurs
Matt
like you.
Rogers, yeah, good stuff. Thank you for making the world a better place with Nest and now with this. That was really cool. Of course, Matt Rogers is the CEO of Mill.
Yeah, and so obviously you've got the process of getting the after product back to them, but it sounds like if you wanted to keep it for your outdoor garden,
I'm sure you could use it in yours, right? If you had it, if you have a garden. If you don't, if you're in a building, then you can do it that. Man.
All right. We got a lot more to come this hour in Pattern. That was super interesting.
I know. I'm like, I wish I could be as smart and innovative as he is.
What does it take to make our renewable energy grids more efficient? It's all starting with a song. Say what? Yeah, we'll look at why these scientists are playing Mozart for our grids.
Okay. And what do you do when the economy in your town is driven by dirty industry? How 2 women took fate into their own hands in this week's Faces of Change.